Yes. Then I got Ken.
Hi, how are you?
Then I got Ken.
I was going to reach
We got some Ken.
why you gotta put it on?
Sometimes more. Yes, right. Sitting over here. And I said,
Designed to me, come get your reward. I was diagnosed with thyroid eye disease just a few years ago.
great, okay.
I should have. I said it. I never did it. So I know we can get out of here. He said, yeah, they usually do it for 6 days. Parents, keys. I said, okay, I just need You got it on mute because I'm a sing. You got it on mute because I'm a sing. Huh? It's live. He said you sing. No.
This is my second. That was home. Stop. But thank you so much. It's good to see you. I can't believe you came.
Left a phone back there.
Check, check.
Time is 7:02 p.m. and I would like to call to order the Monday, October 14th meeting of the Southampton County School Board. We have 8 of our 9 members present, so we do have a quorum. Is there a board member who needs to add an item to the agenda for tonight?
Yes, ma'am. I don't see anything about the ad hoc committee that was supposed to come back to us at this meeting for supervisors.
Okay, so you want to make that item D under,
And then under the informational section, a section for human resources, which I am also going to recommend becomes a permanent item under the informational section.
so under informational item, well, it sounds like this needs to be a matter from the board or something you want to talk about, correct?
However, we need to do it.
So let's make your, so it won't be an information item, I think. It's gonna be a matter from the board, which is under section 8, so that's, September. Is there another board member who needs to add an item to the agenda for tonight? So then, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So we have a motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Smith to approve the agenda as adopted. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes from our September 9th meeting were included with your board information packets. Are there any corrections to the minutes from the September 9th school board meeting? So if there are no corrections, then the minutes are approved as distributed. We are now down to recognitions. Our board believes in and supports celebrating student success. So the Student of the Month program is one of the ways that our division recognizes students for academic performance, positive character trait demonstrations, and/or extracurricular activity performance. So with that said, Dr. Shannon, comments?
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to see everyone in the audience. It's good to be able to recognize our students once again, and we're just excited about all that the students have done academically, athletically, and socially. There are students who are being recognized as Students of the Month are students who have been selected either by their peers or by their teachers or principals who are doing magnificent things throughout the school. And I'm just excited that you guys are here with us tonight, and I'll turn it over to the principals who will ask you to the podium to recognize you. The first principal is Capron Elementary's principal, Mrs. Devonda Gary.
Good afternoon. Capron's first Student of the Month is Miss Malia Barnes. Malia is a kindergarten cub at Capron Elementary. Her teacher, Ms. Collins, states that she is an amazing role model in the classroom. She follows the rules and always puts forth her best effort. Malia gets along with all her peers, and Mrs. Holland can depend on her to help out when needed. She exhibits the ROAR expectations on a daily basis, and she is a joy to have in the class and in the school. Malia Barnes, please. So this is Miss Malia Barnes, our Capron Cub, our kindergarten student. This way. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Our next Student of the Month is Miss Takara Ford. She is a 4th grade cub at Capron Elementary School. According to Mrs. Roach, her teacher, Takara is very respectful. She is consistently on target, and she always meets her ROAR expectations and always tries her best. Miss Takara Ford, please. Next, we have Mrs. Paris Flight from Meharon. She is a new Eagle in Mrs. Herman's pre-K class. Her teacher, Mrs. Herman, says she always comes in with a smile on her face, ready to help others. She sets great examples for others when it comes to following the classroom rules. Mrs. Paris Flight. Next, we have our sister, Bonnie Flight. Bonnie is a 1st grade student at Meharon. Miss Van Dyke, her teacher, says that she is an outstanding student. She follows the directions and is respectful with everyone. Miss Bonnie Flight. Thank you.
Of note is that Mrs. Devonda Gary actually presented the awards for Meharon Elementary School in the absence of Ms. Susan Powell. So thank you, Ms. Gary, for doing that for Meharon. Next we have Nottaway Elementary School's principal, Ms. Susan Street. Ms. Street.
Good evening. I do not see them, but I'm still going to call and recognize them just to be sure. My first one is for Joshua Smith. Joshua was in Miss Marion's class, and there were students that were sitting in stations. He saw that one of his friends were not invited to a group, so he invited a kid to a group. So he got the super kind and super friend on board. So if we can please give him a big round of applause. And then I also have Miss Anaya Warren. She is a new student to Nottoway in 5th grade. She is being recognized by Miss Jenkins. She has had a fantastic positive attitude. She is starting to have more confidence in her math problems, which we love to see. And she is working so hard on showing her work and making huge strides already. And so Miss Anaya Warren, I don't see her either, so we could give her a huge round of applause.
Next, we have Riverdale Elementary School, Mr. Paul Key and Miss Alicia Warren.
Good evening. Our first student of the month is Miss Morgan Hill. Morgan is a 5th grade student at Riverdale Elementary School. Morgan is a good citizen. She is always willing to help and is a role model for her students. She assists Mrs. Gray each afternoon with parent pickup, which shows her willingness and her responsibility. She is a joy to have at Riverdale Elementary School. So with Morgan
The next student of the month from Riverdale is Kennedy Clemens. This student is an outstanding citizen and is always willing to lend a hand. She also helps Miss Gray during parent pickup to ensure that our little ones, our new pre-K kindergartners, get where they need to be and understand where their pickup location is. She always makes sure as a school we rise by lifting others. Can we have Kennedy Clemens?
Thank you.
All right, next we have Southampton Middle School, Mr. Mark Barfield, Mrs. Patricia Jackson, and Mrs. Jasmine Galloway are on their way to the podium.
Good evening, members of the board. Okay, we started off with 6th grade for Southampton Middle School. So first off, we have Madeline Kessinger. Madeline is a straight A student who is always respectful of her peers and teachers. She also has perfect attendance and is always ready for instruction in every class. And today she said that she loves school.
Mama.
Let's give it up for Ms. Kessinger. And the next student we have is Mr. Jonte Jose. Jonte is always prepared for class with a positive attitude and all of his materials ready to go. He is also an honor roll student who has excellent attendance, and today he said his favorite part about 6th grade is lunchtime. Thank you.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to recognize two students of the month for 7th grade. These two students are very respectful, they're very responsible, they are determined to do well in all situations,
And they're just the kind of students that every teacher enjoys having in his or her class. I would like to present to you Kelsey Davis.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board members, and the community at large. I'm back with my employees for the class of 2029. As they'll be able to enroll, enlist, be employed, or be an entrepreneur. These students represent citizenship and scholastic ability. First, we'd like to recognize Cora Bailey, who is an AB student, who is well-rounded. She's punctual. Her teacher says she's a joy to have in class, and Cora's told me today that her favorite class is Civics and Economics History. Cora Bailey. Next is Mr. Caden Lane. Caden is also well-rounded. He's an AB student. He's punctual to class. He's an athlete. He plays football. And he shared with me that he likes to socialize, enjoy talking with his friends, and his favorite subjects are language arts and physical science. Caden Lane. Thank you.
Next we have Mr. Baraka.
Good evening, school board members. Good evening, Dr. Shannon. I am proud to sit before you all and present my Students of the Month. However, as I look around, I don't believe that they actually showed up here this evening. So I will be having what we call a courageous conversation with those babies tomorrow morning in my office. At any rate, I'd like to introduce Trinity Talbot. Trinity is the kind of wonderful student. She is warm, engages her teachers and students in her classes, and has an upbeat and positive attitude. That is Trinity Talbot. Next, we have Jonathan Miles. Now, Jonathan is a well-rounded, engaging student who serves as a role model for others. He is friendly, goal-oriented, academically sound, and is athletically gifted in baseball, which is one of my favorite sports. And that is Jonathan Miles. Thank you.
I do want to congratulate all the students who were recognized tonight. And I want to thank all the parents who are here to support us and to support their students tonight. Thank you very much. We're going to take about a 5-minute break here. The parents and students are welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but also you're welcome to leave at this time. I do know that Ms. Key wants to take a group picture of all the students who are recognized tonight. So we're going to pause so that all the students can take a group picture, and so that those parents and students who do want to meet can leave before we proceed with the meeting. We're going to take a 5 to 7 minute break.
Let's go! Mama, give it a
Wait a minute, Mason, I want you to see me out. Hey, how you doing, bud?
We are now going to move into the public comment period of our meeting. Although Virginia law does not require us to hold a public comment period, the Southampton County School Board chooses to do so. We believe it's important for us to hear from our community members. We value their input on matters concerning the education of the children in our county. The public comment time period is a time for board members to listen to the concerns and views of individuals regarding Southampton County Public Schools. Please note that these are individual views of the persons speaking. Therefore, don't expect board members to respond to comments or to answer questions during the public comment period. Our job is to listen to the opinions of the persons speaking. We also ask that you respectfully follow a few guidelines in order to speak during public comment period. First of all, we ask that persons wishing to speak sign up in the foyer prior to the start of the meeting. The second thing is that we ask speakers to limit their comments to 3 minutes. We do have the time limit so that we can listen to as many members of the public as possible and still allow sufficient time for the board to conduct other necessary business. We do have a visible timer so that persons speaking can be aware of how much time they have left and when their time is over. Speakers may not give or yield their speaking time to others. You cannot transfer your opportunity to speak to increase the speaking time of somebody else. Speakers should address their comments to the board, not to the superintendent or other audience members. We also ask that audience members refrain from comments and demonstrations such as booing, hissing, or clapping. So I will call up the speakers in the order in which they signed up in before the meeting. So the first speaker is Mike Mahames. promotes excellence in public education through leadership, advocacy, and services. Dr. Cardell Patillo, a member of the Portsmouth School Board, is the current president of the SBA. Dr. Patillo has visited more than 20 school divisions this year, and tonight we are proud to have him here with us in Southampton County. So welcome, Dr. Patillo. Thank you for coming to Southampton County.
Thank you. See, y'all have a busy and long meeting tonight. So as Marilyn Monroe once told her fifth husband, Mike Todd, I won't keep you long. First, I want to say good evening, and thank you for welcoming me to your board meeting on tonight. Again, I'm Dr. Cardell Patillo, President of the Virginia School Boards Association and Chair of the Portsmouth City School Board. It's a genuine honor to be here with you all. Leaders who give so much of yourselves to ensure the best for your students. This is my 23rd stop on the President's Roadshow. On behalf of the VSBA Board of Directors, I want to sincerely thank you for being a valued member of our association. Your commitment to the students here in Southampton County and throughout the Commonwealth is deeply appreciated. The work you do, especially on tonight, may not seem easy, but it is incredibly important, and we are grateful for your dedication and for your leadership. At the VSBA, we were founded on the principles of local control, believing that decisions about education are best made by those who know their communities and students best, you, the local school board. We are proud to support you and to continue advocating for the success of public education alongside such committed and passionate board members. Your tireless efforts to provide the resources, opportunities, and environments our students need to thrive are making a real difference. I want you to know that your hard work does not go unnoticed, and we at the VSBA appreciate everything you do every day for the future of public education. Thank you again for your service, your membership, and your commitment to our shared mission. We are here for you, and we deeply appreciate your ongoing dedication. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and thank you to stay right there. Board members, I'd like for us to take this opportunity to take a picture with Dr. Patillo. So if we would, if board members would join Dr. Patillo at the podium, I would appreciate it. And have Ms. Key and Dr. Shannon, would you join us, please? And Ms. Artis, our school board clerk, would you join us, please? Do we have everybody? I'm on this side, Dr. Patillo.
Thank you. Have a good one. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, board members. The next item of business is the update from Crabtree and Robar Architects on the Health Resource Building and Parent Center. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Bauer is here on behalf of the architectural firm, and he will make a report to the board tonight.
You ready? Can you hear me okay? Yep. All right. So we did, the goal tonight is just to give you an update on both of the projects, both the Resource Center and the Student Education Center. The first project we're going to talk about is the Resource Center. We did receive bids, and we did receive a bidder, and the bidder was below our projected cost, which is great. Can you scroll through the? See, I knew you already had taken care of. So just as a reminder, that in the last couple of meetings that we did do some cost reduction, including reducing the number of toilet rooms, also changing the offices to more cubicles, and we believe that these reductions were successful. So as we're looking at the cost that we had, as it projected around, sorry, I can't see quite that far, I'm getting old. We're about $100,000 under the total project budget, which is fantastic news. And so what we would recommend, as far as this, if you wanted to go forward with this project, would be to accept the bid tonight, not to, you're going to see awarded the bid tonight, and then to allow the architect and your solicitor to review the contract, and the board designee, whoever that is, whether it's Superintendent Shaner or somebody else, to sign the contract once everybody approves of it. There is some negotiation that needs to happen in regards to the contract, and also review by your solicitors, what I would recommend. So tonight, my recommendation, if desired to move forward with this project, would be to accept or receive the bid, and then permit, I said, the architect and your solicitor to review the contract, review the contract, and then the board designate to be able to sign that, so we can be able to move forward with this particular project. Does that make sense for everybody? Mm-hmm. This really is wonderful news. This allows us to have a little bit of flexibility in our cost. We do expect that with the building of this maturity, that there are going to be some surprises as we go through this and do some demolition and find some things that may be a little bit less than awesome. And I also believe there's some planning to do some additional charging stations. So we are working on those pieces also as part of this process. We feel really good that we recommend moving forward with this particular project. Any questions on this one? Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Bunn and Mr. Rogers represent the board on the Facilities and Building Committee. So any additional comments, Ms. Bunn or Mr. Rogers?
No, I was glad to see that it came in under budget. We've been working really hard trying to make some changes so that we could do that. And with that additional money, that gives us some flexibility, because you never know when you start building something when incidentals come up. So we wanted to make sure that we came in under enough that we had a little bit of wiggle room. So I was glad to see that. Happy that was right.
You covered it all. I think it worked out as well as we were going to hope for. So I'm happy to see where we're at.
Yes, we sincerely appreciate how much effort both Ms. Bunn and Mr. Rogers have put forward, which there was a ton of other meetings that they had to listen to me yak as we went through the process and went, so hey, what if we make this change? Okay, well, this is what this is going to cost. What if we make this change? There was a lot of back and forth, but I feel really good that it was a collaborative effort, and that we recommend moving forward with this particular project.
So, thank you. I'm confident that Ms. Bunn and Mr. Rogers will move forward next steps and will keep us on track. So, you guys understand what the next steps are, and you'll keep us focused on next steps, right?
Well, and I was going to ask John, so do we need to have our motions tonight in a certain order, which we want to do?
Yes. So the first part would be to accept and receive the bid, is number one. And the second step would be to permit the architect and your solicitor to draft, review the contracts, negotiate the costs, and then the board, the permitted board person to be able to sign. I don't know who that is, whether it's your board chair, the superintendent, or another person to be able to sign the document once everybody's approved it.
Well, a couple of things. The board, the superintendent will be the person to sign. But I think when we think about the contract, we do need to get our legal team, our legal representative to look at any contracts before we approve.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm using a older term. Solicitors, your solicitor is also your attorney. That's your counsel. It's the same person. I'm sorry. I'm using I'm using an older term for the word of your attorney.
Okay.
So a board contract, and we'll permit the architect and the attorney to draft the contract together, and then sign it on with that. That's the order that
yes,
I hear.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't think there's any action the board needs to take tonight, correct?
We need to accept the bid.
So, do we need to, okay.
So I make a motion that we accept the bid as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Bond and a second by Mr. Rogers that we accept the bid for the Community Parent Resource Center. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
As we move to project number 2, so we did go out to bid with project number 2. Unfortunately, we did not receive any bids from bidders. We had 3 bidders attend the pre-bid bidding, but no bidders actually issued the bids today for the project. It's not awful news. It's not what we had hoped for. It is not awful news. One option that I would strongly recommend that we entertain, well, we basically have really 2 good options. One is to put the project back out to bid. The challenge with that is that we could spend 3 weeks of time and face the same result, where we have no bidders because we do not control whether we have bidders or not. Another option, which is really a fantastic option, is through job ordering contracts. And what that allows you to do is to actually put an RFP out and to sign basically a contract with a contractor for an entire year. So not only would that give you the ability to do this project, but then also any other project as long as the total cost for the individual project does not exceed $1 million. So it really does give you a great opportunity to engage a contractor that can do not only this project, but then also other things. That is a great way for us to collaborate. The design is already done. We have on the committee side worked to get the cost down to closer to your budget. And so with this process with job ordering contracts, is definitely a great path to be able to do, so issue an RFP and negotiate with a contractor as opposed to doing a formal public bid. And that's one of the many great things about Virginia is it gives you that flexibility for a project under $1 million. Anything over that, we would not have the ability to do this as a particular option.
Has the committee discussed that? And Dr. Shannon, have you talked about that?
I have not spoken with Dr. Shannon about that because we just received the bids. We didn't receive bids today, so we didn't have a lot of time to talk about what the options could be.
So actually, if it's issued as an RFP and done as job ordering contracts, that also gives us the flexibility because we had looked at if we were able to obtain grants to help with portions of this building. We worked in the committee multiple times to scale down the size of the building, and we were trying to get it to more of a standard size that we may then have builders that are familiar with metal buildings that would be willing to come in and do the work, but don't necessarily want to go through the state process. So this would allow an opportunity for some of the builders who are very good at those buildings and what they do to then come in and do an RFP, and then if we were able to secure additional grants to add in some things that we were having to leave out initially, we could then use that same builder to do some of those things under that RFP. It's just a question.
So is the committee's recommendation then that we do an RFP, or is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. And I don't know that we need a motion for that. We're just going to change it, do it as an RFP instead.
Right, there are some processes like a PPA that the board would actually have to do a resolution for that. Job ordering contract is not one of those. And we will take care of issuing the RFP and getting through that whole entire process to be able to do that. We do this with Brunswick and Fredericksburg City. It is a very simple process that is really a good path as an option. Public bidding is really the most competitive. This is a second good option, and it's also, I said, a great path to be able to move forward with a contract for an entire year that you can also renew if you enjoy working with this contractor.
I have a question about changing that. Does that in any way impact things like Davis-Bacon, the procedures that we have to follow because of the type of money that we're using for this program or for this project? So the good news about JOC is it does not have a limitation on whether it is state or public or federal work. So it would not affect that. Just the challenge would be could not go over $1 million per project. So that is our limitation, is the dollar figure, not how the money is acquired.
But we don't have $1 million.
Do you need a motion then to approve, kind of doing a draft of the RFP, or do you need any motion, do you need any action from the board to move forward as well?
I would not think that we would just changing it to an RFP instead, so I don't know that we need a motion for that. Do you need a motion, understand that?
Okay.
I do have one question, Josh. If we go through this process, it does not commit us to move forward with the project if it ultimately comes in over budget or things like that. We're looking to award, correct?
That is correct. So we can do this basically as a two-step, and actually do the RFP to hire the contractor, and then go through the process, have them actually bid the document, and we can decide whether we move forward. So essentially, the first step is only putting them on JOC. The second step would then be actually give them the pricing for the building to be able to move forward. So it's so that it does not. But on the other side is that then this contractor then you'll have them for an entire year. Or here, you'll have them for an entire year, which will allow you to do any other project under $1 million if you desire.
And I would think the superintendent can approve the RFP without it coming back to the board. So we could have a draft of RFP that the superintendent could review and approve to go forward. Is that agreeable to everybody? Okay. So, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so thank you.
All right, thank you much. Have a great day.
Thank you. The next item is the preliminary end of year closeout report. Ms. Carr is ill, so Dr. Shannon, you have information for us?
Ms. Artis is actually passing out the information. And I would like to add that it's still a preliminary report as of October the 10th. They still had not completed closing out June's documents downtown with the county, but she still provided the information that we had available at that time.
We do know that the county has until December, I think, to close out the, the budget. So the cover from Ms. Carr says provided for your information are the estimated balances by category for the fiscal year 2023-2024 local operating budget. The food service category was added to report the cost of providing the retention bonus and includes the employer's share of Social Security and Medicare tax. Remaining balances in each category estimated and moved to the instructional category. The legal portion of funds available to all federal reimbursements failed to be received. We're still waiting on a couple of Title I reimbursements to reach final approval. The county is responsible and funds debt service separately, but we're required to include the expense in our local operating budget. Any remaining funds in debt service, along with any remaining funds in other categories of the local operating budget, will be retained by the county. The final report of revenue and expenditures will be available after the fiscal financial audit. So we have the information, and hopefully Ms. Carr will be here at our next meeting to elaborate. But in the meantime, we do have some estimated numbers to look at and review, and we'll save our questions about this until next month, if that's agreeable. But Ms. Carr is here to answer them. Thank you. The next item was the ad hoc committee. Last month, we agreed to have an ad hoc committee that will facilitate communication with the Board of Supervisors. As the ad hoc committee, the board chair will appoint an ad hoc committee. However, I will not do so tonight. I will do so at our next meeting, and I will appoint that ad hoc committee, but it will not be tonight. But we did agree that we would have an ad hoc committee that would facilitate communication between our board and the Board of Supervisors, and we will have it on the agenda for the November meeting. Did you have other comments? I want to know when it was going to happen, Dr. Tender?
No, my understanding from my notes was that it would be brought to us in October, so.
Okay, well, it will be brought to you in November. Okay, so we're down now to action items. So the first action item is the financial report and payment of bills. So Dr. Shannon, you need to elaborate here.
Sure. Enclosed in your packet are the expenditures for September through September 30th, 2024. The original budget was $36,970,753, and to date our expenditures are $4,660,271.89, which leaves us with a balance of $32,310,481.11. So we have spent 12.61% of our budget.
Thank you. And did you look at the bills?
So I make a motion that we approve the bills as submitted.
We have a motion by Ms. Bond. We have a second by Mr. Scott that we pay the bills as presented. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next item is the use of facilities request. Dr. Shannon, would you like to go through those? We have several.
Sure. The first use of facilities request is for Ms. Janet Joyner to utilize the high school. The Franklin Southampton County Fair is requesting the use of Southampton High School's auditorium and classrooms for a dressing room on August the 1st, 2025 and August the 2nd, 2025 from 4 until 9 p.m. on August the 1st and 8 until 7 p.m. for a Queen's Scholarship Pageant, and they are requesting fee waivers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We could just vote on them as a group if that's okay.
All right. The next item is from Ms. Carol Fox with Contemporary School of Dance. The Contemporary School of Dance is requesting the use of Southampton County High School's auditorium for a dance recital on May 16th and 17th of 2025 from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on the 16th and 2 until 8 on the 17th. Insurance has been acquired and they are requesting a fee waiver. Next, we have Ms. Herbalee Jones Scott with Touch Christian Church Ministries. She's requesting the use of Southampton County High School's Commons area and auditorium for a tribute of community service on November the 2nd, 2024 from 4 to 8 p.m. Insurance has been acquired and they are requesting a fee waiver. Next, Mr. Kevin Howell is representing Franklin Southampton chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, and they are requesting the track field at Southampton High to be used for a toy drive on November the 23rd, 2024 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Insurance has been acquired and they are requesting a fee waiver. Then we have a series of concerts, and Ms. Carolyn J. Beal is the representative of the Franklin Southampton Concert Association. The first concert is October the 27th, 2024 from 1 until 5 p.m. The next concert is November the 19th, 2024. The next concert is March 22nd of 2025. The next concert is April 5th of 2025. And her last concert request is April 26th of 2025. And she too has presented insurance information and she's requesting a fee waiver.
Any questions about any of these facility use requests?
I noticed in the fee waivers that the administrators and custodians, there was a fee for them, but is that waived as well?
No, if they come, we have to pay them.
All right, because I saw that the cost at the end didn't include their fee. And so that's what that's my question. Thank you.
we end up absorbing that cost because of these groups have connections to the community, so they pay the reduced rate for nonprofit. So you can see that they pay usually less than $100. Any other questions? Comments?
Dr. Chen, is it your recommendation that we accept the fee waivers for all of these?
It is, as Dr. Goodman stated, all of these are nonprofit organizations, and they all work very closely with our school division, and they are within our community, so we certainly want to do whatever we can to help.
And when we talk about fee waivers, it's a fee for the full amount, but they do pay a percentage of that amount. You can see what the amount is that they will pay.
Dr. Goodwin, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the use of facilities requests as presented, including the waiver of fees for the nonprofit organization.
I have a motion by Mr. Rogers, a second by Ms. Hobbs. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So we're down now to informational items, and the first informational item is the instructional report. Dr. Shannon.
Yes, tonight we have the pleasure of having Ms. Rachel Doyle with us to present the instructional report. And in the report, she's going to talk about BLA updates, the Yonder Pouches, proximity learning, VDOE fall growth assessment, and then some of the dates that we need to keep on our calendar. Ms. Doyle.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board members, and all present. As Dr. Shannon stated, topics included in the instructional report this evening are the Virginia Literacy Act, Yonder cell phone pouches, proximity learning, and VDOE fall growth assessments. The following are the latest updates on BLA implementation. Teachers are using the following programs for whole group instruction: Hegarty Phonemic Awareness, 95% Core Phonics program, and Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Into Reading. Teachers are highly engaged with the materials and are asking questions about best practices and use of the programs. University of Florida Literacy Institute Foundations, also known as UFLI, manuals have been purchased for small group structured literacy instruction. Reading specialists will provide training on November 4th on using VALS data, which used to be PALS, to drive small group instruction, and also using the UFLI manuals and materials. Walkthroughs began on Monday, September 30th to ensure fidelity of the BLA mandated programs and curricula. Walkthroughs are being administered by principals, reading specialists, and the Department of Instruction. A Google form has been provided for these walkthroughs, and feedback will be provided. Lesson plans have also been reviewed in Planbook, which is our online lesson plan platform, to be sure that the required lesson structure is being applied in the classroom. This structure is based on the VDOE recommended instructional model. VALS testing in grades 1 through 3 is complete, and student reading plans for those students scoring in the high-risk band have been developed by teachers and reading specialists in Virginia IEP. Parents provided input during parent-teacher conferences, surveys, and phone calls per recommendation by the VDOE. Most teachers have been able to access their required BLA courses. These courses are being provided free of charge by UVA's Virginia Literacy Partnerships. We are working closely with teachers to be sure each and every teacher is enrolled in their course and that their course is accessible, as this is a requirement of the VDOE, and these courses must be complete prior to September 1st, 2025. VDOE and BLP have provided a website that offers a glimpse of each individual course structure. The Division Literacy Plan will be reviewed and revised by the BLA Leadership Committee and resubmitted prior to December 6th. Yonder pouches were implemented at Southampton Middle School on Monday, September 30th, and Southampton High School on Monday, October 7th. Students met in their auditorium by grade level to receive their pouches. The procedures were demonstrated and practiced by the students. The consequences were stated and questions were answered. Students used the unlocking devices as they left school that afternoon. Students began locking their pouches the next morning and unlocking them again that afternoon. We have received feedback from both the middle and the high school. The feedback has been positive. Teachers have seen an increase in student engagement, and the high school library shared that they have seen an increase in book checkout. That makes this literacy teacher happy. The fall student growth assessments are VDOE state mandated in reading and math in grades 3 through 8. Fall testing is conducted in late September and early October. The SGAs are approximately half the length of spring SOLs. The upcoming SGA and SOL windows are as follows. Winter growth assessments will take place in January, and spring SOL testing will take place as normal in May and June. The student score range information will be shared with parents after testing concludes. Proximity learning is being implemented at Southampton Middle and High School. Proximity learning is an innovative virtual education platform offering live interactive classes taught by Virginia certified teachers through an online format. All proximity teachers are either certified to teach in Virginia or currently in the process of obtaining certification through reciprocity. The courses being offered are English 7 and Civics and Economics 8 at Southampton Middle School, English 10 at Southampton High School. Some of the benefits of proximity learning include flexible learning environment, qualified and engaged teachers, interactive instruction, and support for diverse learners. We have received positive feedback from the middle and high school for proximity learning as well. Students are far more comfortable with virtual learning because of their prior experience with virtual learning last year. We have experienced virtual learning coaches in the classroom, and it is evident that they are communicating with the proximity teachers. There is text on the board related to their instruction, and virtual coaches and proximity teachers are planning together, and students are highly engaged. Thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Boyd? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the maintenance, operations, and transportation report. Dr. Shannon.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Mill is on his way to the podium to give us that update. Mr. Mill.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Board, Dr. Shannon. Just a few quick updates on some projects going on here. Here in the gym at the high school, I think it was back in August or September, we talked about new padding going in there. That's an illustration of what the padding will look like in the gym. It just arrived last week, and Sean was working on it today. Starting tomorrow, we're going to have the security film installed at all the entrances at all the schools, and that will be completed this week. The school visitor security systems are functional at all schools by the end of this week. Mr. Charity has been working with IT to get that up and rolling. The student ID cards, working with Ms. Vanderford to get the updated student pictures, and that file to card integrators out in California for them to print our ID cards. Modular units, we hit a bump with the set of hurricanes that went through. They knocked us back, and waiting on our final permit approvals from the county to get those placed out back here.
Mr. Melvin, would you elaborate a little bit on security film installation?
Yes, ma'am. So part of the fiscal year 24 school security program, entry film was one of the ideas, and it's a film that is applied to the back side of the glass at the entrance here. All the windows will have it on there, and what it is, it's a layer of protection. So if somebody tries to come through the window by breaking or trying to permeate it somehow, it just gives the staff inside more time. It doesn't allow it to shatter, it keeps it together, and extends the life of that glass to prevent an individual from gaining access. It'll also have a reflective mirror coating to the outside of the building to stop, you cannot see in as well unless you're right up to it and looking through it. And it also will be tinted to help us with the heat that comes in. I know when I was at Riverdale, that front vestibule would get hot up front there, so it'll give us a little climate control as well with our areas. But this is the first round of it that we're looking at doing, and we'll see how it goes, and we're going to explore more windows on the exterior of our buildings, especially here at the high school, middle school, with us in our proximity to 58.
And the school visitor system.
Yes, ma'am. It's a suite of a program through Navigate 360, where when visitors come to the school, they present their ID. It goes through the card reader, runs it through a variety of law enforcement databases to see if that person is allowed to be on the school property. And then it will use their ID from their, or their picture from their ID to produce and print a visitor badge. It will also track, who's in the building, and it will also keep be able to run monthly reports and yearly reports of visitors on campus. It'll also work for contractors that are on campus. Everybody who comes into one of our buildings will be inputted into that system, and we keep track of that. And then the next couple slides are just maintenance things that Sean and I have done over the last month. You guys can cruise over that show.
I have a quick question. Did we get the corrections done based off of our health inspection? Have those updates been made, or what's the status on those projects?
On which inspection?
I know high school and middle school, I think they're both inspected for sure.
I know the middle school one, we addressed all of those. When the young lady was speaking tonight, I was taking note and trying to find that high school inspection. I wasn't aware of any major deficiencies that weren't things that were easily correctable by the staff at the time. But definitely going to be looking into some of those questions that were raised this evening. But at the middle school, yes, they were all addressed. Yes. Thank you.
I guess I was asking Dr. Shannon, who gets the health inspections? Do they come to you? Do they come to Dr. Shannon? How is the division informed of the health inspections, and are they done on a routine basis? Are they done on demand by citizens?
I believe there's 3 different types of inspections. You get the routine, where they announce that they're coming, the unannounced visit, and then also the on-demand, when they get a report of a deficiency or something that needs to be addressed. Those reports, usually Charlotte, the lady from the health department, is in contact with Mrs. Grant, our food service supervisor, if it takes place in the kitchen. And they work to, if there's anything that she needs my assistance for, she comes and asks for that. But otherwise, it's handled within food services.
Yeah, because I would like to suggest that you make the superintendent aware of those reports. And then the superintendent can make the board aware of those reports.
Yes, ma'am.
So the inspection you're talking about, they were unannounced visits? Is that what they were, or were they?
I'm not sure what variety.
Have you seen the report?
I have not. Not from the ones that were spoken about tonight, of the September 26th and October 1st. No,
They're posted on the VDH website under recent inspections.
Right, I know they're posted there, but I guess I'm trying to figure out.
How are we informed?
Right, how are we informed? I mean, because you certainly, if VDH has posted it, there was some way that they informed us of their findings. So I'm trying to get at who received those findings and what's the mechanism for reporting these findings, so that Mr. Melby and Dr. Shannon will know of these findings. So I'm trying to figure out
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to clarify our internal process was what I was trying to get at.
Yes, ma'am, and you've got my wheels spinning here of putting a process in place to ensure that myself and Dr. Shannon are informed at any time that we do have an inspection and any deficiencies or
whether it's a commendation or
not just the report, but the corrective action.
Say that again, Mr. Smith.
Not just the report, but the corrective action.
Right. So, you know, even if they came and said everything was great, I mean, we want to know that too. Or if they came and said, this is what it is, and then we need to see what it is, and then come with the corrective action plan that needs to be approved through the superintendent. So I'm concerned about clarity of our process. So hopefully next month you can
definitely have an update and a process
and a corrective action
report for you. Yes, ma'am.
So Dr. Shannon, is that acceptable?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Dr. Shannon, we're down to student enrollment and student teacher attendance.
Sure. Our current enrollment is 2,365 students. And looking at the student teacher attendance award, Capron Elementary is the winner of the student award with 99.24%. Wow. That's amazing. Almost 100%. I was so impressed when I saw that.
Capron students love to go to school, right?
And then for the teacher winner, that goes to Nottoway, and the percentage is 96.56%. So congratulations, Nottoway.
You have information in your documents about the VSBA annual convention in Williamsburg. It takes place November 20th to 22nd. Please let Ms. Artis know if you plan to attend. Ms. Artis makes the hotel reservations for us as well as getting us registered for the conference. So Ms. Artis will need to know whether or not you plan to spend the night and whether you plan to attend and whether or not you plan to spend the night. And Ms. Artis says she has a sheet for you to fill out before you leave tonight. So make sure you fill that sheet out before you leave tonight so that we'll know about that. So Dr. Shannon, you want to tell us about these other announcements?
Sure. First, we have National School Lunch Week, and that week is going to be observed October the 14th through the 18th, which is this week. And it's an annual observance in the United States aimed at celebrating and promoting the importance of healthy school meals for students. Next, we have Virginia Farm to School. And Virginia Farm to School Week was actually celebrated October the 7th through the 11th. And it's an initiative that is aimed at connecting schools with local farms to produce the use of fresh, locally sourced food in school meals. Then we have National Bullying Prevention Month. This is observed every October, and it raises awareness about bullying and encourages actions to prevent it. Schools and organizations, they emphasize and promote kindness, inclusion, respect, while educating people about the effects of bullying. And our schools usually wear orange on a particular day to represent the fact that we are against bullies. Then we have National School Bus Safety Week. This is the week of October the 21st through the 25th. And it too is a public education campaign that is designed to promote awareness of school bus safety. It highlights the importance of safe practices for students, bus drivers, and others who are on the road. And then the Great Southeast Shakeout will be held on October the 17th, and it's an annual earthquake drill. And basically we emphasize that the participants need to drop, cover, and hold on. Then we have Jumpstart Read for the Record. And our book this year, I think you all already have it, yes, is Pepper Chan Sings. And Jumpstart Read for the Record, it's an annual literacy campaign that aims to promote early childhood literacy and encourages reading. Yeah, that's everything.
Okay. The school calendars are in your board documents. Please, look at those and participate in activities as your schedule will permit. We're down to matters from the board. So Dr. Kendall, is a matter you wanted to discuss?
When we look at the informational items that we have, we always have an instructional report and a maintenance report. I'd like to add a human resources report to that. It doesn't necessarily have to be every month, but something that is looking at policy updates from the VSBA, reports of vacancies, things like how many long-term substitutes we have in classes, provisionally licensed, fully licensed, all of that information, so that we can see the improvements that we're making as we're continuing to hire people.
But VSBA updates will not be a part of that, because the VSBA updates come directly to us as board members, so I don't know why we would include VSBA in human resources.
Presented to us as a board.
VSBA, you get updates from VSBA directly to you.
But I mean, most policy updates that we need to make to the policy based on changes that have been made.
But VSBA sends them to the board, not to human resources. So I think other than including VSBA, I'm agreeing with you, but I think that if you want to talk about just policy updates, that's fine, but I think when you said VSBA, that's something that comes to the school board. It doesn't go to human resources. Does that make sense?
It does. But so then, if the VSBA is sending us information about policies that need to be updated or recommended to be updated based on laws,
right?
When do we do that?
We used to do that, in October or January.
When we get it.
When we get it.
We'll review it, and then once we review everything, we'll bring it to the board.
It usually comes in two separate meetings. It comes in one meeting for a first read, and we go through and look at any changes. We don't go to a second, but they usually try and do it as a fall of a lot of the policies.
Right, I was gonna say, because there was one in May that had 48 items on it.
Right, and that's usually when VSBA sends them to us, we get a bulk all of them.
Right.
So I guess I hear you saying add periodic human resources updates to the list of reports that we get, and you said not at every meeting, but maybe once per semester. When there's something to report. Say that again. When there's something to as needed.
There should always be something to report for human resources, because there should be recruiting events, and ideally, we are moving to all fully licensed staff, whether that's throughout the year or in the summertime. So a report at the beginning of the year that shows 6 long-term subs, ideally would not still show 6 long-term subs at the end of the first 9 weeks or the end of the first semester. So I would request at least quarterly.
So I guess for me, that's something we could receive once per semester. And I think we would be updated enough if we heard it at the end of each semester. I'm not sure we need to hear it every month. I mean, what somebody else is thinking.
Dr. Tennell says that, we should not necessarily see 6 long-term subs, and well, we might be, because our neighboring district keeps giving more money to our people than they do.
Right.
And so we have double challenges that we're facing. We have a challenge that we did not receive the money that we expected, and then we also have the challenge that our people are being drawn to the neighborhood people.
Yeah. So maybe a report at the end, at the end of the semester or at a logical stopping point, but I would see the need to hear it every month, because you do get that information in closed session when we talk about appointments.
Right, but I'm talking about percentages. So if overall we have 200 instructional staff, what percentage of those are fully licensed staff? What are provisionally licensed staff? How many of them are in the I-Teach program? How many are long-term sub?
But I don't need to know that every month.
I'm not saying every month. That's why I said every quarter, perhaps. And to Ms. Hobbs' comment, I completely understand that these may not be changing. But what I'm saying is, hopefully, as we move through the year, it would change. We should not see the same number of vacancies at the beginning of the year that we're seeing mid-year and the end of the year. And neighboring divisions, plural, all offer more money because we are the lowest paid division in the area. And that is something that is our responsibility to work on. We can't point our finger at other divisions and say, well, Isle of Wight pays more, or Franklin pays more, or Sussex pays more. They all pay more.
But we can point our finger at districts when they know people are in the past, when people are under contract. Superintendents in our division did not poach each other's staff. So there was a gentleman's agreement that if a person was under contract, you didn't approach that person to offer him or her a job. So it's one thing to offer people a job in May or June. It's another thing to offer a person a job in October. And I think that that's part of the concern that Ms. Hobbs is raising, just that agreement that, it was nothing in writing, it was just a practice that took place for years, that apparently is no longer, that no longer is in place. Dr. Shannon, want to elaborate? Or did I capture the gentleman's agreement?
So I would like to comment again on that. Yes, there is a gentleman's agreement. And I can only speak for the division that I work for. I don't know what other divisions are doing, but the gentleman's agreement is put in place not to take certified people after June the 30th. So classified people are not underneath that gentleman's agreement. It does not include anyone who has relocated more than 50 miles away, which clearly wouldn't be the case between neighboring divisions, or for anyone who is accepting a promotion.
So Dr. Keller, apparently you have researched gentleman's agreement, and I think that we all know the games that people play with gentleman's agreement. So if you know that somebody's making $25,200 in Southampton, and you want to bring them to Franklin, you say we'll pay you $25,700, and we now say that you are coordinator, when you really don't have any coordinator responsibility and they do. So we know how people play the game in terms of talking about something of continuing responsibility. So we know the game is being played.
You know the game that you believe is being played.
No, the game I know is being played. That I know.
You don't know, because there was a position.
I only have anecdotal evidence. You're right. I only have anecdotal evidence.
There was a position posted that was the same position that had been previously posted, with the same responsibilities and the same title. No one in any division can keep someone from applying for a job. If they are under contract and it is a lateral move, they would not even be interviewed.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
I really resent the implication.
And I resent the action. But thank you for the clarification.
Should I weigh in? I don't know the circumstances we're discussing, but
One thing that I would ask is, I would like to know some of the vacancy rate numbers. What was published in Smithfield Times this month was really the first time I saw where we compared or stacked up against other divisions in the state. And so having some of that information ahead of time and as an informational update, I think is helpful for me as a board member. And I also don't have to rely then on what's reported in the paper. I want to know really from Ms. Hutchinson and from yourself, Dr. Shannon, what the actual numbers are so that it doesn't leave any question in my head. So I think that's a routine update that would be helpful for the actions that we need to take today.
And I think where we're stuck at is, what do we consider routine? Do we need it every semester? Do we need it every quarter? Do we need it every month? So I think that's where we're stuck. And I guess my position is every month is too often, is where we are. So if we could say we're going to do it 2 times per semester, which would be every quarter, I can see that being useful to see where you are, but I can't see doing it every month.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say quarterly is helpful to align it with the 9 weeks as a simple just pacing strategy for how we get those updates. And if we decide we're not seeing a lot of difference in 9 weeks, we can always back off on that, but I think 9 weeks is a good, or at the end of each 9 weeks throughout the school year is a good reason.
I mean, I agree with that. So Dr. Shannon, can we agree that we will add human resources update every 9 weeks?
Sure. I do want to add, though, that I did not see the article in the Smithfield Times, so I don't know what information has been reported or what have you.
I can send it to you so you can reference it. That'll be helpful to report.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So any further comments about how often we should receive the human resources report?
Not how often, but if a board member sees a problem, I think we're obligated to send it to the board chair and to the superintendent to say, here's what I noticed, here's what I saw, so that we can look at it. Whenever we see something that could impact us, I think that's our responsibility.
So pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 and 2 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, the board, upon a motion and a second, will convene in a closed session to discuss personnel appointments, resignations, stipends, compensation. We'll discuss intra-district student transfers, out-of-district student admissions, student discipline matters, and the superintendent's contract. At the conclusion of the closed session, the board will return to this area to take any needed action on matters discussed during the closed session. Do we have a motion to go into closed session? So was there a motion by Mr. Scott?
Second.
A second by Ms. Lane? So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Then we will go into closed session and we'll return to this area at the end of closed session.